Hello and welcome to ShameOver, where you can lose the hangover, not the booze. I'm your host, Erica Mallery, and this is a podcast for those interested in moderation and drinking less, and who want to find peace and balance in their consumption. I am on this journey with you, and I am proof that you can drink less without going cold turkey or all out sober. If this sounds good to you, let's get started. Hello, welcome back to ShameOver. I am sorry it's been a little bit. That's why I wanted to kind of pop on here and touch base and basically just let all of you know in case you ever need the permission, you're feeling off, you're not sure what's going on. It is okay to not be okay. It is okay if things come in waves or just hit you completely out of the blue and knock you on your ass. All of this is very normal. I think it's hard for us to really feel that that's actually okay. In the day that we live in, with social media just constantly showing the highlight reels of everyone's lives and just the nonstop attention and need for information, need to be in the know, fear of missing out, all of that. I have not been on here for a little bit, and part of that has been, I'm not going to say burnout, but just not feeling alive and really lit up by things. And that is not just this area, it's a lot of different areas. But so earlier this year, my father-in-law passed away, and it was obviously a very, very hard situation, just a big loss to all of us. We found out he was sick basically right before Thanksgiving. So clearly it went very quickly. The reason why I'm sharing this is dealing with so much tragedy and loss throughout my life. One thing that just bears needing to be repeated is how different everybody handles grief and loss and just negative emotions. I can say without a doubt, I am so unbelievably grateful to have the relationship with alcohol that I do now, because if I didn't, I cannot imagine how the last few months would have looked. Just escaping any and all thoughts, feelings, everything because of alcohol, which would have helped in the moment. It would have felt like, it was the relief that so many moments that I was looking for and needing. But what I've learned through this journey is it would have not only made everything so much worse, it would have made it last so much longer. And as we're going through just the new chapter, the new life that we live in, if you will, it's crazy. It was my husband's dad, and they had moved here, I want to say like 5-ish years ago, maybe 4.5. And we live like 7 minutes away. They are so incredibly helpful, just not only to us as parents, but supporting us as a couple, supporting us through free childcare and, all the stuff. I definitely hit the jackpot with the parent-in-laws, if you will. And so we've definitely gotten very close, especially since they've moved here, which makes the loss a little bit harder. Obviously, the closer you are, it can just make it that much harder. That being said, we had a good little over a month, maybe right under 6 weeks, maybe, of nonstop time together where we were able to share memories and share thoughts and stories and just all the things that allowed us to be able to really enjoy as much as we could, soak in the last time that we had together while being able to really feel fulfilled. It, I think, helped the blow be a little bit less, even though, the blow's going to hurt regardless. But really, I think we all, at least myself, my husband, his mom, I think we all really felt like we got the closure. We got the time, even though it's never enough. But one thing for me that was very hard in all of this was, for whatever reason, I could not cry, could not fully let it all out. And coming from someone who used to cry all the time, this was weird, like that's not a normal emotion in my mind to not be able to cry with such a big loss. So that to me was a sign that I needed to do something more, do something different, because this did not just seem like the perfect opportunity to have the big cry that I felt like I'd needed for so long that I just wasn't able to. So even though I have all the experience with all the nervous system regulation, and I'm all about talk therapy and all those things, I still wasn't able to get it out. So one thing for me is realize to, take a look at other things that were going on, medications, for example. just what are things that might be impacting this that I might need to look at considering changing. And also having the realization that, I'm on one note, you feel like you can't experience the losses heavy as my husband and his mom, who that's his son, that's his wife. But that's not true. Like that, the bloodline does not have to determine how big or not you should be feeling about things. It definitely can play a role for most people, but it's not always it. And again, it's just been such a huge reminder how differently we all process things, and more than anything, how it comes in waves. A couple weeks ago, I was doing really great, like really surprised at how well I was doing. And then all of a sudden, it just like out of nowhere felt like it hit me like a freaking bus. Not only did I get physically sick, but I was having like basically this like pulled muscle, whatever, in my neck, back, whatever, and like almost paralyzing. And that turned into essentially the flu that I was down. I've slept for like 18 hours or something crazy. I don't even know. But it was my body's way of saying, you need to let something go. You need to process this. And our body keeps the score. I'm a big believer. We can hide things all we want. And this hit me sooner than it would have had I been drinking. And again, the reason why I bring this up is had I been drinking how I used to be drinking, I wouldn't have noticed any of this. This would have just all built up in my body and stress, all the things that would be living in there for months, if not years to come. I am personally a very big believer that a lot of the reason why we get sick, especially when it comes to cancers and things like that, is undealt with trauma, stress, all of that. I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice by any means. And I know that there's so many different reasons for so many different things, but I do believe that our bodies they hold on to everything, all the energy, all the stuff that we don't deal with, it's still in there. It needs someplace to go. So if you are drinking, if you're going through something big, do what you can to feel the feelings, to go through it. I tried and I still wasn't able to until doing some things like not essentially coming off my medication, but cutting it in half to see if that was helpful. It definitely was, but really doing other things that were helping me get in tune with my body that I don't necessarily do on a regular basis just because I don't necessarily need to. One thing that kind of led to all of this was I started off March being my month of me. That was the intention, was every day in March, I was going to be doing something for me. And I feel like, especially as women, as moms, we try to do this, but the one thing that always gets pushed down on the to-do list is us. No matter what comes on, we're always getting pushed down. And I can say this myself, knowing how easy this is, even though I'm constantly telling my clients, like, you have to take care of you. You have to put your own oxygen mask on first. When you are in a funk or in a space where you are just going through the motions, whether it's because of trauma, of loss, of grief, of just being anxious or depressed or just not being entirely in your body, it is going to be that much harder to deal with these things, to even understand what you need to deal with or that you have something to deal with. And so what this month of me started out with was forcing myself in a very loving way to journal every day. My goal was, if I only write down one sentence, that is enough. As long as I write every single day, that is what I need to do. I've been hearing that, I've been feeling it, I just haven't done it. And just this simple act was able to help me start processing so much more, especially getting my medication in a space that feels better for where it should be right now. And really just taking the time every single day to make time for myself. And that could be, 1 minute of breathing or showers, hot water. That is my thing. But doing more showers by myself, not with my kids, doing cold plunges and the sauna. I have a place that I've joined recently that is just awesome. And it is really not only been therapeutic, but it helps, I feel like, process things that I don't necessarily know are in there. I also just recently did a float that was the most incredible experience. It was, my friend and I did it together. He signed us up for 90 minutes, which I'm like, this feels a little aggressive for our first time, but okay. But after talking to the owner, 90 minutes is the ideal time. It's apparently equivalent to 4 hours of REM sleep, which I don't even get REM sleep on my best night of sleep, like 4 hours. So that was incredible. But it so helps with regulation and just calming everything, because you have to basically let go. Like you are in this space floating in water and everything is just zero gravity. Nothing else matters. And it is incredible how much this can shut you off, not only from the outside world, but from all the monkey mind stuff going on inside. So I am sharing this again because if you are going through loss, if you're going through just a downtime, a bad time, whatever it is, stop and see what's going on, how you are actually processing, how you're feeling, what you're feeling. Are you actually allowing yourself to feel? Because too often, and I've learned this by raising little babies, I have a 6 and a 3-year-old, and I am really good at labeling emotions, but teaching them how to feel it in a safe way that honors their body while keeping them safe and keeping everyone else safe. That is a completely different ballgame that I am not at all used to. I'm having to learn that myself as I'm going through it. So the easiest way for you to understand if this is an area you need to work on is first ask, what am I thinking and feeling? And how am I actually letting those feelings play out in a safe way, in an honoring way? If you are like me, you probably don't have an answer for that second piece. You don't know how you're actually feeling them, or if you're able to completely release and let them go and sit with that discomfort. Again, if you are presently drinking heavily so that you don't have to deal with this, that was me for so long. I get it 1,000,000%. Before you drink, do something that helps fill your emotional cup. So that is going to be something like what I said with the hot water, taking time for yourself, doing breathing exercises, any type of nervous system regulation, or just something that feels good, that's honoring, that is pampering. Doing that before you drink is going to help slowly rewire your brain so that when you're having these bad feelings, these down days, these anger, anxiety, outbursts, whatever it is for you, you don't immediately think a drink will solve this, because that is what we've taught ourselves. And that is why alcohol is so not only helpful, quote unquote, but more than anything, why it is our go-to in almost every situation. Our brains are designed to keep us safe and to do so as quickly and as easily as possible while conserving the most amount of energy. That is alcohol literally summed up in a bottle. So if you want to stop feeling the need to drink whenever for any emotions, especially negative emotions, if you want to lessen the grip that alcohol has on you, the role that it plays in your life, or if you just want to drink less, cut back, just not feel so, I'm at the point to where even 2 glasses of wine makes me feel like shit. So if you just want to feel better, if you want to sleep better, if you just want to literally be more at peace, you are going to do so by feeling these feels, how awful and uncomfortable they are. But when you feel them, you realize that they are not this big, crazy monster. A lot of times you're like, you were a lot smaller than I thought, or it was not as intense. It's the resistance to it that makes it so much bigger and worse, more uncomfortable, more drastic, more ugh. So do what you can to actually understand what you're feeling. And that second layer is, what am I doing to actually feel this? How am I allowing these feelings to come through and to process? If you're stuck with that, please feel free to reach out. Honestly, talk therapy is such a wonderful thing to do. I am a big believer of it. I will be my entire life. Nervous system regulation is another thing to look into. My next episode, when I have a little bit more energy and feel more ready to jump back in, will probably be a lot on that. The biggest thing is just allowing this processing to even start. And it's not easy. It takes a look inside, takes sometimes just ripping off the Band-Aid, but more than anything, you have to know you're going to be safe. You have done so many hard things and you've got through it, and you are so much stronger than you realize. And you do not have to be strong for everyone else. I know that subconsciously, like, that's playing in the background. If you're holding it all together for everyone else, over time, it's going to take less and less to break you. So deal with it sooner before it becomes such a flood that you just can't even bridge the gap to deal with it. Lots of love to you all. Cheers. See you next time.
ShameOver is the mindful drinking program designed for women who desire to drink less without losing the booze completely. If you want to transform your relationship with alcohol and live a healthier, confident, and balanced life, go to shameover.me and get started today. You deserve it, you're worth it, your future self thanks you. Cheers!